Samarth Samriddh Sampann Bharat by 2047. It's a budget which is Sabka Budget. Joining us now on our coverage of Budget 2023 is Union Minister Smriti Irani ji, Women and Child Development Minister and also Minister of Minority Affairs. Smriti ji, namaste. This is Anand here. Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Sorry.
Smriti ji, we are live and I want to understand, does this budget meet your personal expectations?
Of course, and more. I think, as been enunciated by the Finance Minister, this is the Amrit Kal budget, a budget that not only gives you a promise to address the issues of the present, also correct mistakes of the past, but it's also a budget that helps you build the future of India. As far as I'm concerned, I'm elated that the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana is seeing a jump of 66%. I am elated with the special savings instruments which has been pronounced by the Finance Minister for Women. I'm extremely grateful for the fiscal space given for the elderly in our country. I am extremely grateful that the budget is humane enough to consider the needs of reading and children and young adolescents, and the National Digital Library and the complementary infrastructure that is to be created for the same in all states. I'm equally excited about the Center of Excellence that has been pronounced for artificial intelligence so that the future workforce can be ready. I'm equally grateful that this budget, in terms of its enhanced support for not only the defense sector but the agricultural credit fund and the special impetus to animal husbandry and fisheries, means more opportunities for women. But one of the biggest opportunities for women is what has been pronounced for the self-help groups across our country. 81 lakh self-help groups, 9 crore female members of the same now will be organized in clusters so that their entrepreneurial prowess can be maximized, and that will have a grassroots impact not only from the perspective of economy but also from the perspective of health and education for families. It is a budget for a better tomorrow.
You've elucidated it beautifully, but there are those who are taking jibes at the government, saying that the budgets for women and child development, the budget for minority affairs have been slashed.
Jibes and potshots are No, I'm sure the ones who are taking potshots and jibes at it are the members of the opposition, and that makes me equally satisfied, because if the opposition was smiling this evening, Mr. Narasimhan, then I think I'd be in a bit of trouble.
Yes. But in this case, let me also ask you, why have the budgets been slashed? Would you look at it as slashing of budgets in your respective ministries, or would you look at it as repurposing and them indirectly benefiting?
Which ministry would you allude to?
The Minority Affairs Ministry, there is an allegation that the budgetary allocations of Minority Affairs has come down.
Is your premise that the government works for minorities only through the Minority Affairs Ministry? I think one of the greatest disservice we are doing to the minority community is to indicate to them that there is only one ministry dedicated to them and their needs. When the Prime Minister says that capital expenditure will go up and infrastructure spend is increased by 33%, and now 10 lakh crore rupees will be spent, roads will be built, airports will be built, does that not help every community, including the minority community? When the Prime Minister speaks of his vision of building new medical colleges, does that not include members of the minority community? When we talk about the new education policy and the gender inclusion funds, does that not include the minorities of the country? The fact that every facet of government today is servicing every community is what is the strength of India. So when the Finance Minister pronounced a whole network and framework for enhancing the capacity of Vishwakarma and especially our artisans, which community do you think they belong to?
That's across the board, but the other question to you is sickle cell anemia has been highlighted. There was the challenge of malnourishment, which was addressed
I'm really
last
grateful, Mr. Narasimhan. I'm very grateful, Mr. Narasimhan. In all my press interactions today, you're the only anchor who's brought up the issue of sickle cell anemia. The fact that it affects our tribal population, particularly 7 crore people in this country, and this is one of the most ambitious targets that the government has ever set in the history of our democracy, speaks volume that this budget is not only an economic instrument but also an instrument for change and an instrument that is grounded in humanity. So I'm grateful particularly that as an anchor, you placed attention to the sickle cell anemia pronouncement of the finance minister.
Because it stood out. It stood out because this does not come under common cognizance, and when the finance minister spoke about it, it stood out. But along with setting out a roadmap for Bharat in 2047, a Samarth Bharat, a Sampanna Bharat, a Samrit Bharat, as the Prime Minister said, there is also seems to be an eye on Lok Sabha 2024. A lot of the constituencies that seem to be beneficiaries of this budget.
The Prime Minister has always said.
There is an element of populism.
The Prime Minister has always said. I'm sorry, I'm cutting you.
No, please go ahead.
No,
You're
I'm
most
sorry,
welcome
I'm cutting you through this particular pronouncement of yours. But the Prime Minister has always steadfastly maintained this will not be the first ever Lok Sabha elections that we'll go to with him as Prime Minister. This is our second. Which we will win, and I am grateful that you have highlighted this particular question with regards to the Prime Minister's leadership, because he's had budgets before which has been pronounced by his finance minister. He has never looked at any budget from the perspective of how to get more votes. I think that is why he has the overwhelming support of citizens of this country. Every citizen knew, and this was tested even during the pandemic, every citizen knew in our country that this is a Prime Minister that prioritizes India's needs and not his political needs.
My final question, Smriti Irani ji, what's going to be your thrust? What's the mandate for you as per this budget going forward?
Well, if you ask me as a citizen, I am the daughter of two senior citizens, hence I'm extremely grateful that pronouncements have been made for senior citizens today. I'm a mother of two girls, and I myself look forward to the savings instruments, particularly for women. In fact, I would appeal to all women that this is an opportunity to not only enhance our savings capacity, but also benefit from the time window that the finance minister has pronounced. That nutrition is a subject which is very close to the Prime Minister's heart, where 18 ministries come together under portion today has been supplemented with enterprise, where the finance minister speaks about Shri Anna, which means the millets, and the capacity for India to enhance our export potential in this segment. What is particularly interesting also is the details to which the budget went with regards to the agricultural credit fund and the impetus that is to be given not only to fisheries, not only to animal husbandry, but there's a complementary stance taken in setting up of Center of Excellence for Artificial Intelligence. So we are getting future ready, but we are also ensuring that we leverage our inherent talent. That the cooperative ministry was first brought into existence under Prime Minister Modi's leadership is something which is a silent revolution that is brewing in our country. The complementary support given by the finance minister today is worth cheering for.
The cooperatives that you spoke about, it's a huge step towards women empowerment, because a large number of cooperatives across our country are also championed by women, powered by women. So here's to that 51% which deserves.
But they're also champions of agriculture.
Yes, they are.
So the finance minister today has not only given a big ticket salute to infrastructure, but she has also fueled the capacity of Indian enterprise at the grassroots.
Smriti Irani ji, thank you very, very much for speaking with us.
Thank you.